What is going on, Gwen?
Watching that awesome commercial you made. How about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say awesome. It's just something I kind of threw together. Like literally, that was probably the fastest one I've thrown together yet.
Me going, hey, where's your ad? Where's your ad?
Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna try and have them to you by Sunday from now on. Just sometimes, it kind of gets lost in the mix. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
It's
tonight,
okay.
I think we're gonna have a great show. These two people that I have coming on, I respect very much. Bree, I've known for a very long time. Nick, I've known for a short period of time, but I look forward to getting to know him much better. I think that they're both amazing human beings. And so, for those of you who are just joining us tonight, we have on Bree Hollingshead and Nick Carboni, and they form Team Brick, and they are absolutely amazing human beings.
Yeah.
What's
They're like, oh my
up?
goodness.
What is up? What's up?
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you taking an hour of your time to come on and chat.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Let's
thank
do this.
Of course.
So, first things first, I want to start off. It's a multi-part question, and I kind of want both of you to answer. For the record, if you've not seen my show before, I have a very bad habit, and I am very good at phrasing multi-part questions. So, it's not really a multi-part question, I guess you could say. It's more of a question for both of you individually. What got both of you started into the paranormal? Like, was it an experience that you had? Was it just, you just love to do it? Was it something that just drew you in? Like, what got you guys into the paranormal? And Paranormal Rockdown, Morgan, I see you guys. Hello, Thomas. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'll let you go first.
Everybody's got an interesting story and how they got into it. Mine, I have an interesting one. I'll try to do a very short version of it. The female side on my mom's family, all the ladies are very gifted. Okay. So having conversations and seeing spirits and ghosts it wasn't abnormal in our family. Like we'd be at Thanksgiving dinner talking about the ghosts we saw this week, stuff like that. Living in houses and stuff. But, the ghost shows came out and we were fascinated with it. We were like, holy crap, people like actually investigate what we see. So, we tuned in. I watched every episode of Ghost Hunter, every episode of Paranormal State, every episode up to about season 10, 11 on Ghost Adventures, once Nick departed and Zach went full cuckoo.
Agreed.
But be completely honest with you, I had no interest of ever being in the paranormal. Really?
Here you are.
Here I am. Yes, that is because the spirit literally kicked the shit out of me, and my house erupted in a bunch of paranormal fury. What happened to me would be every paranormal team's dream residential case, and knowing that the females in my mom's side of the family were very, intuitive into this stuff. I reached out to my sister. We found a really well-known shaman. He came in and helped me, and it was a very positive and uplifting experience that, I kind of just I looked at my sister like, hey, let's start a team and do for others what this gentleman did for me. And we started Old World Paranormal Society in 2017, and we focused on learning, researching, networking, anything and everything to do not with putting episodes on YouTube, but to study, learn, and understand the human psyche, the spiritual psyche, whatever it took to help people in their homes. So that was the premise behind it. And then, years down the road, I got the opportunity to open the Bell Mansion, and that was kind of just it was a different take on the paranormal world, and I was thrust into the business side and just immediately getting to know everybody and their mom, and it just everything just changed then. But that's my short synopsis. There's a lot.
You know what? That's perfect. I was actually going to ask about the Bell Mansion later, so you beat me to it.
Good.
Let me tell you, I have been doing this since July of 2006. I've been doing this a very long time. And I can tell you, like, your work, it speaks for itself.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
So, Bree, what's your story?
It's weird you asking me this because I know damn well you know it already.
I do know it, but the viewers watching don't know it.
That's
I
right.
know. It's weird. So okay, so
I know you're like, wait, I know this guy. Why is he asking me this question? Well, because you're on my show. That's why.
didn't I'm pretty sure I can
Now,
pull.
babe, remember, short version. We only got like an hour.
Just for that. Okay, so it happened. Okay, guys, got your drinks and your snacks. It happened one
Yep.
stormy evening.
She was on the toilet and she ran out of toilet paper, and this ghost came in and handed her a roll, and she's been fascinated.
I already love this conversation.
So I had my so I come from a family of gifted women. I am a psychic medium. I had my first experience at the age of 6. I woke up middle of the night, and like I grew up in a 1-bedroom home, and the home was actually used on the Underground Railroad, so it's quite old, and it's got one of those old like circular stairwells, but it's plastered in. But my parents always left, my mom always left the bathroom light, the closet light on upstairs, so that way I could see if I had to get up middle of the night. That way I didn't like go down the stairs the wrong way. And so like I woke up and I went to roll over, and I had twin beds side by side. One was covered with every stuffed animal known to freaking mankind at this point. And I saw my mom sitting with her back turned towards me, and it really didn't resonate with me. And so like I'm getting ready to ask her, like, Mom, are you okay? What are you doing sitting over? Because she's like staring at the wall. And as I'm getting ready to ask, she starts to turn her head towards me. And as she's turning, like I'm realizing like I can see the 1970s like dresser that through her face, like that's behind her with like the mirror and the shelves. And I was just like, nope.
So it's like she's transparent.
Yeah, she was completely, I could see right through
Or
her
translucent,
face.
I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, she was translucent. So like I could see through from the light coming in, I could see through her face. And like I just rolled over, pulled the covers back over my head the next morning, told my mom what happened, described the whole situation to her. And she's like, that's your great grandmother. Now, the last time I saw my great grandmother was at her funeral when I was 1.5 years old. So, and she didn't have a tie to the house or anything. So my mom was like, she's just here to check on us. Like, that's all she's doing. It's not like she's stuck. She was just basically making sure you're okay. You know, my gifts grew as I went through life. And a lot of people say trauma will typically unlock, or trauma can cause to shut off. I went through the shut off phase, going through a lot of trauma throughout my life. It just kind of shut me down, blocking it off. I went through a divorce in 2023, and my 2 older boys sat me down and they were like, Mom, you raised us on paranormal. Like, we watched all the shows. They were little, like 6, 7 years old, watching Paranormal State, Ghost Hunters, GAC. I mean, you named it, we were watching it, you know, Haunted Collector.
Who remembers Fear on MTV?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like, you know, I raised them watching all this, and they were like, Mom, like, this has always been a passion. We've always lived in haunted houses. Like, you have something special with you. Why don't you start going to these events and like the Paracons and stuff? So I started going to them, and I actually was out going to the USS North Carolina for an event for the weekend. And I, on the way out, I stopped like right above Mount Pleasant in Ohio at a rest stop. And when I came out, I was sitting in the car smoking a cigarette and getting ready to pull out. And I hear this voice telling me, make this a road trip, make this, like, basically make it epic, you know, make this memorable, make this a road trip, have fun. And I was like, you know what? I am. So like, I went to Twitter and I started off with the Mothman, rubbed the shiny hiney, went to Sweet Springs, did a shout out for Project Fear because they were in the first season of Project Fear. It was the 2nd episode. They were releasing the sleeping arrangements at Sweet Springs that Friday. So I did my shout out to Project Fear.
Excuse me.
did the USS North Carolina that weekend, and on the way home, Spooky Appalachia actually started feeding me locations like, hey, check this place out. Hey, go here. And so like my first stop was St. Albans. I trespassed all over that damn property in the broad daylight. I won't lie. I stayed 10 feet away from the building at all times, but I was like in awe. I was like, oh my God, I'm like seeing the places. Like I'm here, I'm seeing the places that I raised my kids watching, you know. Saw Trans Allegheny from across the street. Holy shit, is that place fucking huge. Sorry, my language. It's massive. I was just like, there's no way. I'm trying to do a selfie because I would always post selfies. And I'm like,
You can't fit the whole building.
I can't, and I can't hold the phone. Like, how am I going to do this? It was quite interesting to say. And of course, Twitter, you can only post like 4 pictures. And I'm like, which one of the 500? You know? But it took off and people ate it up. And I that was how I got into the paranormal. I ended up with an event company for a little bit. That I ended up being known as #BeLikeBree because I, with the prodding of my children, pursued my passion and learned to love myself. I learned to pursue something that brought me joy and happiness and find who I was, you know, who I am. And I'm still finding who I am, and I'm still learning to love myself. But you know, it's kind of taken on its own. I never knew #BeLikeBree could be as powerful and turned into what it has.
I remember when this whole #BeLikeBree thing started, I shared the fuck out of it.
I remember that, yeah.
And because I loved what you were doing. I loved the traveling. I loved the pictures that I saw. Like you were going all these places that were my dream locations. And I'm like, I wish I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've always supported you, and I think you do amazing work. So
thank you.
And I never did order a #BeLikeBree t-shirt. I always meant to do that. I never did. So that was my bad. I apologize. But no, like I love that aspect of the story because you know you went from a spot where you were kind of unsure as to what was going to happen, and you made it into a positive that you didn't know was going to become a movement, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It totally took on a life of its own. And I mean, for a while, I even became known for Paranormal Trip and Bree. I mean, that ended up taking after, you know, like I remember people asking, you know, how do you keep yourself safe when you go to these locations? And hell, I even went 3 weeks on the East Coast by myself, and we were supposed to meet up. We had talked about meeting up.
It never happened.
Yeah, it ended up falling through, but we were supposed to do that. But it was like I made sure people knew where I was at all times. Nick was my handler, you know, at one point, so to speak.
If you ever come to the Northeast area, we'll make sure that happens.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, I always made sure people knew where I was. I always thought I had my I's dotted and my T's crossed, but it's like, you know, safety is something that I think gets overlooked a lot. And even when you're in the middle of it, you think you're being safe. And I had an experience happen with myself and my best friend at a location where a location owner actually got very inappropriate. And thus, Paranormal Trip and Bree died. But #BeLikeBree will remain and will always continue, you know? So, but I mean, it's okay. Things evolve, things change. I mean, we've got a lot that we're doing now. So it is what it is. And it's like encouraging because I see a lot of younger women that, you know, messaged me and they go and they do the solo stuff now. And they say, look, you inspired me. You gave me the courage. And I think that is so amazing because, I mean, in all honesty, it's no offense, guys. It's women that run the paranormal.
Thank you.
You know? It's women that run
I've been saying that for years. Like,
no offense, you know. I mean, when you look at ticket sales, you know, for even paranormal events, like we've got an event right now, we were looking at the ticket sales. 99.9% of the tickets sold were female purchased. You know, it's the females that are financing the paranormal field. And it's the men that come sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes kicking and screaming because they're trying to make a wife happy, So
Oh yeah, I can promise you this:
Yeah.
ain't no one gonna come and pay to see this ugly face. I can promise you that. So I get it, but like it's kind of one of those things where you kind of did say something there that kind of triggered me in a way, because the being inappropriate.
Mhm.
I have heard of so many location owners that have this habit, and so many people do not realize that this happens behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
And it's sickening. And when it comes to light, so many people come forward and try to defend them and cover it up.
Oh yeah. So the woman I was with was you just highlighted her, Carrie Kristen.
Carrie, yeah.
I was with Carrie the night that the location owner got inappropriate with us. And so she had come into town from Iowa, and we were supposed to go to a location. A former member of the team was should I say the locations or just keep them on? I'll keep them under.
No,
So
just for now.
We were supposed to go to one location he volunteered at, and we double checked. It was good to go. She gets here, and I even let him know we're on our way. And it's like, we got really bad storms coming through. It takes an hour and a half to get there, even with the bad storms. I think Carrie got us there in 45 minutes, but it's, we get there and
That right there.
yeah.
The thing you just highlighted.
Which one? This one?
My viewers are mainly female.
If the majority of people that have a lot of followers on their content, creators, whatever, TikTok, YouTube, this or that, you can go into your analytics and dive deep into male versus female. Then you get to female. Then you can break it down to age groups and this or that. Every time, 3/4 it's going to be female.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I've never looked into that.
Like I might have like a higher percentage in some areas where it's men, but when it comes to like paranormal stuff that I post, even being a female, it's higher female that is supporting it and pushing it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's,
I wonder why that is.
I think it goes back to the females. I think more females. Okay, as a mom, we've got that.
Females in general are more spiritual.
We've got that
More
intuition.
gifted.
That's
so
good.
They are quicker to dive towards the paranormal, the metaphysical, the spiritual, the witchcraft, the Wiccan, you name it. It's going to be more female. If you look at the demographic of mediums, intuitive people, 75% of those are female. And if you look at that 25% that are male, now I'm going to say this, don't cancel me. I'm just stating facts.
I'm not going to cancel you.
The majority of the 25% that are probably male, I would say a majority of those, maybe half, are gay.
That's very plausible. You know what? That
They
is very
have,
plausible.
so if you look at that, it's because most gay men turn to more of a feminine style.
True.
Yeah.
So does that resonate into the intuitiveness, the mediumship, and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it very well may. I've never actually looked at it from that aspect. That's a very good point, in my opinion.
When you have long car rides to places, you come up with a lot of different topics to talk about.
Well,
that was one of them we talked about.
Oh
I've
yeah.
got a long car ride to Florida next week, so I'll be contemplating a lot of things. But
I bring this up. Let me just say this real quick. So I was interviewing a guy on our podcast. We had the Old World Paranormal podcast, and he was a very rising star in the paranormal. He was getting out there, but not for all the good reasons. And he was talking about. He's like, well, I have 50,000 followers on Instagram, and I have somebody on here and somebody here. And I asked him, I said, have you looked at your analytics? And he said, what do you mean? I said, go into your settings. You can dive into your subscribed people or followers, and you can dive deep into the analytics. Now, this guy is a very good looking gentleman, and he's younger. Okay. I said, so we go into the analytics, and it was like 84% of his followers were female. Okay. So we dove deeper. I said, now on them females, what's the percentage of those 84% that are in the age range of 16 to 25? Okay. And he's like, okay. And he's live on this podcast, he's doing the numbers, and it was an astounding 90% of those 84% women were in the age group between 16 to 25.
See, now I'm learning from you guys, and this is what I love about doing this podcast. Is if you think you know it all, then you don't belong doing stuff like this.
Right. There's
I
always something to
absolutely
learn.
love learning new things.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Nick, because I know that me and you are similar in that we do a lot of residential stuff.
Yep.
So residential cases, they need to be handled differently than when you go into, say, a mainstream location. Let's just throw out, like, say, the Villisca Axe murder house or the Lizzie Borden house, right? Because you're not going in to technically investigate a location. You're going in to help a family.
Mm-hmm.
So what would your advice be to people who are novice investigators wanting to get into this? Because I know a lot of times there's novice investigators that take a client on that owns a house, and they go in and they just make it worse.
My honest suggestion to a team or an individual that really wants to get into residential cases and learn to help people, don't do it until you team up or network with somebody that has a very good background.
Yes.
Learn from this person or team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow a couple teams, because when you think you know what you're dealing with, that's when you get slapped in the face.
Absolutely.
Shit goes south. I mean, guys, I've been on cases. I've been punched, scratched, forcibly ill.
I've been bitten.
I have ran into situations where people have been possessed and went and got weapons, and I had to vacate people, call 911. I've run into a lot of shit. Does it happen all the time? No, but you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
You do.
This is just something, and I'm getting ready to write a book on this. Bree's going to help me put it down. And it's going to be about residential cases. It's going to be like, I'm going to raw dog this thing. Like, I'm going to be blunt. Like,
I love it.
This, guys, okay. Look, this is not for you to go investigate. Okay? It's not. If you want to go investigate, go to the 5,000 other locations in the United States that you can go investigate. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what it's about. My goal is, if I can solve your case without breaking out any pieces of equipment, I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have learned through the years to network and get a team of individuals that specialize in a lot of different things. Because the first thing you need to do and be humble is to understand and realize you personally cannot fix it all. You might be good at this or this, but you're not that good at all these, but you need somebody that is really good at these.
Yes. It depends on the web of the network that you're bringing in. It really does.
Yeah. So my suggestion is, don't just run out and do it.
Yeah, because I have been to several cases in my time where a team went in and they didn't know what they were doing, and they just made things worse. And the people wanted an overnight fix. What they don't realize is I guess it's the novice teams don't realize. I guess I should say, it's never an overnight fix. This is a very long process.
Yep.
There's a lot of steps that go into it. You've got to do a lot of different things to even get the people residing there comfortable enough to allow another team in.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody picks up the phone, I mean, you have a dad or a mother, and they have a family, they have a house, a career, they have everything. You know, the dad's goal is to be the protector and to fix everything. And it gets to a point where you have something like this situation and they can't fix it themselves, and they pick up the phone to call a paranormal team.
It's no dad
That's a
wants to
huge
do that.
deal. That
It's a
is
huge
actually.
deal, you know, and
Yes.
you walk in acting like Zach Baggins,
Uh,
you know, I will say this. I will say this.
And I think that's a lot of the problem right now is so many people base their investigative techniques off of what they see off of mainstream television.
Yeah, they do.
And to be honest with you, that is completely wrong. To me, your best tools are a notebook.
Yep.
Just, a notebook, your intuition, and paying attention to your surroundings and how you feel physically. If you have those three things, all the equipment aside, you might be able to come to some kind of at least an assertion to an extent of what you could be dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's where you bring the equipment in. And I'm not saying bring in the equipment as far as a DR60 recorder because they're pieces of shit. No one likes them. I'm sorry. I don't care.
I don't understand them. They like post a clip from a DR60
Yes.
and I'm like, I don't hear it. I can't understand it.
They are a piece of shit recorder.
Mhm.
So-
there's a reason they were only made for 1 year, and that's the reason.
I will say this, man, and I don't know your extensive background on residential cases, but one word of advice or statement of advice or whatever, however you want to say this, when you're going into a residential case, 95% of the time, and I'm talking from a good spirit to the D word, 95% of the time, if there is a haunting, it's because of the living.
I agree.
yeah.
And it's because of what is going on with the living people in that house.
I agree.
The other 5%, it could be a passerby spirit that's stuck around. And he's like, oh, these people, I can mess with them. You know, those are, dude, that's like literally just show up, that spirit's going to leave. He's going to go do whatever. But
Right.
you need to focus not so much on the entity. If there is a haunting there,
The people living.
you need to understand the people. What is going on with the people?
And Nick, that honestly is the best answer I've ever heard when I've asked that question. And I 150% agree with that.
You know, I've sat there at tables and I've had to ask people awful questions. You know, has there been?
You do, and it's uncomfortable.
You know, like you're a freaking therapist or something, but you're not. And you said, "Look, I'm not a licensed therapist. You do not have to answer my questions." But what I'm going to ask you is going to be very, very, very uncomfortable. But
Yes.
if you truly want to find what is going on here, these questions are relevant.
Yes, the history, like the history about sexual abuse, if it's ever happened, the history about drug abuse, if it's ever happened.
Yep.
There's so many uncomfortable questions that you have to ask if you really want to get to the bottom of the plausibility of whether or not it's paranormal or if it's something psychosomatic, I guess you could
Right.
say. There's so many questions you have to ask, and they are very uncomfortable questions. And I've had multiple times in the past where people are like, well, I'm not answering that. Well, if you can't answer this, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I can't help you.
When a person, okay, here's a trick. If you're sitting across the table and you ask a person that particular question, and that person gets defensive and says, I'm not answering that, you can already, you don't really need to know. You can already check that yes box because
Good point.
they're being defensive. Like if somebody's never went through sexual trauma, you know, their response is going to be no. But if they have, and it's still, I mean, they have not healed, like it's prevalent still in their life, they don't want to talk about it. They're going to be a little standoffish. They're going to be
Right.
defensive. Like, I'm not answering that.
No, I love that response because you know what? Like I said, 18 years of doing this, and I just learned a new technique that I can use during my interviews. You know,
Yeah,
you can
see, but
always
that's-
learn something new.
Yeah,
I
you
wish for myself, like being around this majority of my life and watching the shows, I wish I would have just jumped into it back in the early 2000s like you. I wish I would have, because I would have understood like the older mindset, the thinking, the OG way, they should say, of paranormal investigating, because society nowadays, it's all about content creating, YouTube, this and that, and it's just entertainment.
Well, can I tell you that I don't respect half of the content creators out there who do it on YouTube and or TikTok, but I respect you. So,
We have YouTube channels? Yeah, we do.
yeah, I do too.
Do I have a TikTok? Yeah, I do. 98% of I'm not gonna say 100% of the fucking time you see Bree and I on TikTok is because we're out there having fun.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
gonna be
Yes, you are. I love
I'm
it.
gonna be a complete fool. Like, I want to see all the shiny lights light up. Like, I want to see the lights. I want it to be like Christmas, because I want to have fun.
That's what everyone wants.
Yeah.
And you know what? What really pisses me off though is there was probably 4 weeks ago, I seen a team doing a live stream, and I have this team coming on my podcast in a few months. I'm going to call them out in person, as I told you I like to do.
Yeah, you're going to break the internet that night. Yep.
Because
Please send me an invite so I can watch.
You'll get one. But
Mhm.
they were having experiences where they were hearing noises, right? And they said, oh, well, if you send us X amount of likes, we'll put a piece of equipment in that spot.
Mhm.
What? If you send us
Oh,
X
yeah.
amount of gifts, we will put a camera on the equipment that we put in that spot. What the fuck? If there's experiences going on and you have noises going on, just move the fucking camera. It's not that difficult.
See, I was like, what the?
They
Yeah.
don't happen to ask for llamas afterwards, did they?
Not that I'm aware of, but they might have. I don't know.
I think they did.
I mean,
You
a
know what
llama
they
a day
did?
does keep
They
the demon
did.
away.
But no, when
For
that whole thing
35
happened,
fucking llamas, I'll fight 30 demons in this closet. Let's go.
but it just
Please
made
do
no
that on your
sense to me.
next. Yeah,
Because-
please do that.
For someone who has been in this field for so long, people who do that shit on TikTok make this field a laughing stock.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate it.
Yep.
I can't stand it. And there's other teams out there that do the same thing. This just happened to be the team that I seen on the live, and I instantly messaged them after the live stopped and said, hey, I want you on my podcast. So, surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, well, see, the grand scheme of the problem, and I think what rubs people like myself and you the wrong way, is because the general public that is curious about the paranormal don't understand the difference.
They don't.
So when they get on the TikTok lives and stuff like that, that's what they expect. So when they actually go to a location for themselves, like, oh, I'm going to finally go do it myself. I'm going to pay, a couple $100, go rent a place out and go and investigate. And they walk in and expect, a shitstorm to happen in 60 minutes. Nothing happens. And then next thing you know, they're on social media talking about blah, blah, blah. This place ain't haunted. Here we go. It's like an endless cycle. Like, if you can just understand that when you watch Ghost Adventures, it's for entertainment. If you watch TikTok lives, it's for entertainment.
So I don't live stream investigations, obviously, because I do a lot of residential stuff. So for my clients' privacy, I don't live stream investigations, and that's just good practice.
I'm just saying.
I will tell you that when I go to Broadhead Manor in Wisconsin in July, I will be live streaming myself asleep. So if anyone sees anything going on around me, please let me know, because I can sleep through a tornado siren. I'm not going to wake up and
you're
shit
sleeping
happens.
at Broadhead?
I'll be there for 4 days.
Broadhead's fucked up.
Good luck.
Good luck sleeping.
I'm actually camping out in the woods the last night I'm there. So
Broadhead is a place that I term a true haunt. And what I mean by a true haunt is you can expect every level of a haunting possible, where you
I
can
love
see it, you can see it, you can feel it, you can hear it. It could affect you. It could take you over.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been there
multiple times.
3 times. Well, a total of 4, investigating 3.
So Bill Walter
Mhm.
or Bill asked me as a personal favor to come out as a guest for the Paranormal Rockdown.
Yeah.
He's allowing me to stay in the location, and
Mhm.
my goal is to disprove the activity going on within the location, because that's what I do. I'm a debunker.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Do you think I'm going to do well, or do you think I'm going to fail?
I
So,
know
okay.
you'll be fine. I'm just saying, and when I say it's fucked up, I don't mean fucked up in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, it is, as a medium, it drove me batshit crazy because there's so much.
Okay, so maybe I worded that incorrectly. Do you think there are things there that, from my logical mindset, that I could look at the building based on walking through
Mhm.
and say, well, I heard this noise in this area, but I noticed this. Maybe that's what it was.
I think you'll do fabulous when it comes to the debunking because I know how you debunk. I think you will do amazing, and I think that you will bring food for thought. But there's going to be things there that there's no way you're going to be able to debunk. I will say,
I hope so.
I saw my first crawler at Broadhead. I've heard of crawlers.
I didn't know there was a crawler there.
Ooh, there's quite a few. Carrie,
You
and
know that
I,
bed you're sleeping in? That's where we saw it.
I'm actually sleeping on the embalming table the first night.
So the Carrie and I stood on the second floor. We were in the hallway and we're looking down towards where the music room is. And there's the doors that you can go through to go either down or up. And we're watching this thing crawl up the wall. And Carrie and I stopped speaking English for about 2 hours.
I don't
Carrie
like
and I
that.
are looking at each other and we're like, You know, we're watching it crawl and it crawls. And it gets to the top, and this damn thing splits and crawls in 2 different directions. We're like,
See,
what?
I knew about the rumors of the Hodag in Wisconsin. I knew about the rumors of the Skinwalker. I know about the Beast of Bray Road. I know about the rumors of Slender Man because there was a stabbing back in like 2013 or something like that happened to do with that. I did not know that this building had the rumor of a crawler. No one informed me of this.
Oh yeah, it's
So-
and it's not. I don't feel like it will hurt you. It was.
Oh, I'm not
more
worried about it
of, Look
anyway.
at me. It felt
I'm not
like
trying to give it a high five.
Look at me. Look at me. Like, look at me, Mom. Look what I can do. Oh, guess what? Look at what else I can do now. Like, and when it split, we were just like, and
Oh,
it
it's
kept
like
happening.
so it's like Stewart from the old school SNL. Look what I can do.
Look what I can do. Yeah. So totally Stewart's personality. And you're just like, what? Now, I don't know if it's me because I'm a medium, but I know like when it came to sleep, I had to sleep with like I slept with like my hoodie up over my head. Now it's going to be too hot for you to do this, but I had to sleep with but even then it was like, I'm hearing the school. I'm hearing the bell.
So
like I could hear the bell go off.
Here's the thing. Here's the difference.
Crazy.
So when Bree and I went, we went to just hang out with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's
And
amazing.
so
Oh,
Fucking
yeah.
love Bill.
Bree and I had the building to ourselves. Okay. Now I will say this: much as every investigation is about your intentions. Like if you have good intentions, you're going to get a good experience. If you're looking for the negative, you're going to get the negative. If you're looking to debunk stuff, you're going to debunk a lot of things. A lot of things probably could be explained. The only difference that I see with a lot of the debunkers is, and it goes for the other side of the spectrum where the people think they're experts on everything. If you go with the mindset of, I'm just going to figure everything out and X it all out, you know, a lot of the things you're going to miss. You need to
Agreed.
use your intuition. You need to use your body, and especially in a place like Broadhead. That stuff right there, like if a person is not an open person, they're a closed person. They're like, I've been doing this for 25 years, but I've never seen a fucking shadow figure. I've never seen this. I've never seen that. Well, you're a closed off individual. You somehow you need to work on that and open yourself up a little bit.
See, because when I'm going into Broadhead, I'm going to go into Broadhead the same way that I go into every other a location that has asked me to come in and investigate. I'm going to forget the history. I'm going to forget everything that I hear, everything that I know. It's like I turn off a switch.
Yeah.
I go in and I look for the logical. If I cannot explain it logically, then I'm going to chalk it up in the maybe it's an unknown column. But if I physically see something that I cannot explain, then that's a whole other column altogether.
Right.
And I am so looking forward to being at this event. I wish you guys could be there. I wish you could. But I'll be there. I'll be there from, I believe we're getting picked up at the airport on Thursday evening. And I'll be there from Thursday evening to early Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
You're going to get the full Broadhead experience.
I just don't want to try Bill's nuts.
Please don't.
Well, I told him, I was like, I don't eat peanuts. I like Brazil nuts, but I know if you eat too many of them, they can give you symptoms similar to radiation poisoning if you eat too many in one sitting. And he was like, well, what if I wear a Brazilian Speedo? I'm like, no, Bill.
Yeah. Bill's
Love him to death.
Bill's
Love
an
him to death.
amazing
He's a
human
good
being.
guy.
But be wary of Bill's nuts.
Yeah. So we got a little bit off topic there, guys. Sorry, I know we got a little bit of a pig trill, as we like to call it in Alabama. So Bree, I wanted to ask you a question because this is kind of like a recycled question. I asked this question once before. I've heard a lot of people refer to themselves as psychics. I've heard a lot of people refer to themselves as mediums. Do you believe there's a difference between a psychic and a medium, or is it really intertwined?
I feel like it can intertwine, but I also feel like there is a difference because I think that there's different levels. You hear a lot of people say, like, I'm an empath. Okay, first off, listen here, Linda.
Yeah, Linda.
Empathy is something we all have as a human emotion. So you're supposed, like, if you're not empathetic, then you're a serial killer, and I need to get you like GTFO. You know,
so you're saying I should go check myself into the local hospital.
Basically, like, we need you on some medication or something, okay, Linda? So, I mean, but that's in all honesty, empathy is no different than being kind, considerate, loving, caring. It is an emotion that we all have as humans. So people running around saying, I'm an empath. Okay. And I'm a cuddler. So, like, sorry. Like,
I'm just fucking weird. So there's that.
We're all a little bit strange and unusual.
Again,
but
most women are more empathic than men.
Yeah.
Men don't have feelings.
He asked me a question. I sat here and listened to you. You show my turn. My mic.
Didn't say it
Mine.
right.
It's
Say it
mine.
right.
It's my mic.
I love you guys.
So it's like, I like to tell people you're not empathic, but you are sensitive. You're sensitive to your environment around you. You're sensitive to picking up on the environment changes when energy shifts. You're sensitive to feeling the touches more, to hearing the disembodied voices more. You've got your intuitives, the people that could very well be like that see the things, that hear the things more. Medium, somebody that can interact. I hate the term psychic medium. I always envision like the 1980s, like the crystal ball neon light in somebody's freaking front living room window. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, it's cringe. To me, it's cringe. I think the 800 psychic numbers totally did a disservice to the actual gift.
Don't
that
make me call
people
Miss
have.
Cleo.
Right. Like, I mean, it's just like we've had so many people destroy the true what it is. This is a gift, and I believe it is a gift that's given to help. I mean, granted, it's every gift is something that can help or to harm. I feel like the psychic, though, like I'm able as a medium, I can do past, present, future. And so I believe that's where the psychic comes into play, is that I can give you a future reading if spirit so chooses to show me, and if I hear, I can tell you what I'm seeing happening now and possibly in the future. Granted, what a lot of people need to understand is free will has a massive part to play in what I see happening. There's certain things that I tell people when I do readings, I will not talk to you about. Like, even if spirit's screaming in my ear that you need to play certain Powerball numbers, or like, hey, you need to go to the doctor, because I might be like, hey, do you have any doctor's appointments coming up? Because I don't want to touch health, because I feel like a lot of people try to mess with health, and that can cause people are so happy. You got to be careful with what you talk about. So like, I always go through a disclaimer before I do a reading. It's, if I see a promotion coming, I might not say anything about a promotion, because I don't want to tell somebody you're getting promoted and they think, oh, I can stop putting the work in, and then they not get promoted, and then they come back and they're like, you fucking lied. Well, did you stop working? That's a you issue. That's a me issue, So I think that's where the psychic part comes into it. But it also, like, with the gifts that I have, like I have psychometry where I can touch stuff, and sometimes the past, or even what's going on current, people that have touched the energy that's gone through it, I can see. I can do remote viewing. So I think that there's so many different aspects to it, but everybody likes to use the flashy name psychic medium, and it sucks, and I don't like it. Like, he can tell you every time I have to say it, I cringe. Like, but everybody's like, no, you should put psychic because you can give readings. And I'm like, I guess I'll use psychic. Like, can't I just be a medium, like, that has like the 52 card pickup? But
I like it.
you
So
can be whatever you want to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because it's like I was joking with my boss at work the other day. She's so cool. Like, we're able to talk. She loves all the paranormal stuff, and she's like, she's sensitive, and her daughter's gifted. And I'm like, I swear, at times it's like you think that we're playing Pokemon, or the spirits are trying to play Pokemon, and they're like, I gotta get them all,
I love it.
So,
yeah, so I can tell you that me and my girlfriend Morgan, like, we have issues sometimes because she's a psychic, and the first time we met was on the USS Salem battleship. And we went through, and she was asking me questions because I was a special guest investigator that was invited there by, the battleship to come and do a guest spot. And we're walking through, and she's asking me questions. And when we get to the end, all good and well, everything's done, we go home. About a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I sent her a text message. I was like, curiosity. She said, what? I was like, how much of that shit did you Google before you came on the ship?
Ooh.
Not a good question to ask, but it's a valid question to ask from a skeptic's point of view.
right.
And it is what it is.
I mean,
I question her all the damn time, dude.
Yeah, so I'm not the only one.
No, he questions me consistently. And it's amazing, though, when we get immediate validation. Like, I'll tell him something, and it's like, bam, it happens. I'll just look at him like,
yeah, and that has happened to me, and I don't like it.
I kind of like when she says something and then it happens, I kind of get this little twitch. I'm like,
yes, it's like, I don't like that. It's like, oh, it makes me feel icky.
Like, I mean, it's like on my end, like, because it's like, I grew up with this, and like, even though I went through a part of my life where like it shut down, like I always would know things. Like, I knew when like I'll take the boys' dad for example, because it always like this was like I think like the first time when I really started seeing certain things like future things, and I didn't understand. I was like, this is so weird, but it was like it they were talking about having a family reunion camp out, and oh yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I'm like thinking to myself, but I'm not there, and I knew then like I already knew we were already going through stuff, but it was like I couldn't all of a sudden like I see bright images, like I'm seeing the camp out and how it's going to happen. And ironically, when I looked at pictures the following year that the boys showed me, it's exactly what I saw in my mind. But I was like, but I didn't see myself there. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why am I seeing? And so like that's how it started, like creeping back in, and like it would come and it would go. And, you know, like for me though, like being a medium, we see things, we hear things. And
Agree, Paranormal Rockdown. I agree.
It's so.
I have a comment for that.
All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You want me to
and
put
I
back
got
up?
a few more questions for you guys.
Okay,
So,
put back up.
if possible, could we run like
Oh,
10 or
yeah.
15 minutes over if you guys okay
Yeah,
with that?
no.
Oh
you're
yeah,
good.
no, that's completely fine.
So, Paranormal Rockdown says, I think there's too many people claim to be psychic mediums nowadays. Okay, so what happens is these people will go on investigations and they'll hear a disembodied voice, or they'll
Bill joined.
there's Bill. So, and they'll see a spirit, and then they automatically think they're a damn medium. Look, every single person has the opportunity to hear a disembodied voice. Every single person has the opportunity to see an apparition. It is totally different to be an actual medium, a physical medium, a clairvoyant medium, a psychic medium. And it's different. If you're a shaman, there's so many different levels where you can speak and interpret spirit. You might be a little intuitive, you might be extra sensitive, it'd be a little easier for you to receive message from spirit like that, but that does not make you a medium.
Agree.
So please stop. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
No, I agree with that 100%.
I feel like there's a lot. Okay, a lot of people, what I think that people don't realize is that I think just about when we think about the people that have children, right? Just about all of us, our kids up to a certain age were scared of the closet or under the bed. They had something that they saw, right? But as parents, we're like, no, it's just your imagination. It's just a bad dream. Everything's okay. Go back to bed, say your prayers. Jesus is with you, right? Like there's certain things that we would do, right? And my personal belief is
Bill.
that
We are not avoiding you,
Dad,
Bill.
I am not avoiding you, Dad.
We've
I
got a
am
lot
not
on our plate.
I am not avoiding you at all, Dad. I miss you. Don't make me cry. But like what I think is that children are gifted. Like we're all gifted. We're all born with a very open mind, like where we can see. You know, we can see the dimensions, we can see, we can hear, we can commune, right? Like we are still new as spirit in our body. But we train children to block it off, to turn it off. It's not real. It's imaginary. It's just your imaginary friend. It's just a dream. It's this. Like we give excuses, and over time children learn to block off, right? And so a huge portion of humans have turned themselves off. We basically have programmed ourselves and our offspring to not work the way that we should with the gifts that we have. Now, over time, the people that have turned them off, things will trigger to open back up, right?
Yeah.
And that could be trauma. That could just be like a near-death experience. There's something in life that triggers where it opens back up. Some people don't ever really shut off. They just learn to hold it back so that way they don't scare mommy and daddy because grandma's sitting in the rocking chair in the room every night reading a bedtime story, like
right.
They learn to hold it back. And, so I don't think it's so much that, are there a lot of people that claim to be psychic mediums? Yes. Do I think that there's a lot of people that are claiming to be psychic mediums that are leading people astray? Hell yes. But I do believe that we all have our own special gift. We are all unique with what we are gifted to do. I don't
I'm
believe
special. I like windows.
he does have a special helmet that he has to wear. But
I love windows.
we can show them that next time, babe.
Okay.
But you know, I think it's like, I think that we all have something that's unique to us with a gift too. I feel like some people they've got more gifts than others, and it's no fault of their own. That's their calling in life. That's what they're supposed to do. Some other people, I think that it's just like they're just supposed to be able to feel when the energy shifts, so that way they can move with it and they can help guide people with it. I mean, in all honesty, like this thought actually occurred to me, and I think I might have even made the comment to you in a conversation 2 years ago, Nate, because I remember we were talking about this once, is how Twilight, the stuff that's in Twilight,
Oh yeah.
is real. Because I was like, because remember I was talking about how I could touch stuff and how like I opened myself up before I go to locations, and
I
I
do
was like,
remember that.
I was like, it's kind of like, because I remember you were asking me how I opened myself up, and I was like, it reminds me of Bella in Breaking Dawn, where she's like pushing the plastic out. But it's like when you think about how people move emotions, right? You've got Jasper in Twilight who can sway the emotions in a room. So that's like moving the energy in a room. And we know that people can move energy. So it's like, it's interesting when you think about it, looking at these, you know, fan fiction type books. We always say there's got to be some truth to the fiction, right? Like, and it's interesting to see the correlation. I just bunny trailed, but
You know what?
it reminded me of
trail.
how we talked about that. That's why I went there. So
I call it pig trail. You call it bunny trail. It's all good. So we're just a little bit over the hour mark, guys. I'm not gonna keep you guys too long. Bill, I couldn't read that. You removed it too quick.
There you go. Sorry.
Yeah, so think about kind of what Bree said. So when we're born, we're completely wide open. And as we're growing, we're learning different things. We're learning society. We're learning what mom and dad want to do. And then at a certain point, you start to reach puberty, young adolescence, and things completely change.
I never hit that.
And
that explains a lot.
think about it, like
does.
on residential cases, when people talk about poltergeist activity, your next question is, okay, what children are in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You have teenagers in the house. Most of poltergeist activity happen from young adolescents, teenagers, because there's some chemical breakdown, energetic wise, pituitary gland, however you want to fucking shelf that thing or file it. Something happens there.
Yes, work of Dr. Hans Halser. Out of all the poltergeist cases that he ever documented, 89 to 92% involved an adolescent female going through puberty.
Yep.
So, again, coming back to an hour ago, and you know, most of your hauntings that you're dealing with has to do with the living. You need to focus on the living, not the dead part.
Yes.
The dead part most likely will be an easy solve. Some are not. Some it takes a hot minute and a little bit of force, but you know, and as far as intuitive people, you know, most mediums have had a traumatic event or near-death experience. They've come back. Their chemical breakdown is completely different. They're wide open. They become closer to the spiritual realm. They can go there physically, mentally, you know, this or that. Or, you know, when you have it as a person just from birth, something happened during puberty and it just enhanced chemically wise in your brain.
And see, and I agree with that, because like going into puberty, I had 3 near-death experiences. So
NDEs.
like I had 2 where I died. Like I died. And what's interesting is both of those death experiences, a lot of people are like, oh, so you saw the golden bright light both times. And no, I didn't. The first time it was literally like out of body. I was like up above. I was in surgery. I was having my tonsils removed, and I can describe exactly what my surgical suite looked like. I can describe what instrument they used, and I can tell you a very in-depth conversation of the doctor and nurse who were having an affair, and the doctor wasn't paying attention and he cut a little bit too deep, and like I started bleeding out. And like I was like up above watching. The second one I drowned. And
I drowned twice.
Really?
It's
Yes.
I can't swim, so I'm not even going to attempt it.
I don't go into the water anymore.
You know what? A lot of people, like, I'm not scared of the water. I feel more drawn to the water now. And it's so weird because it's like I had from a very young age, probably about 5 or 6, a reoccurring dream of me drowning in the basement of the house I grew up in. And because I grew up in a 1-bedroom home, and it was like because of the age of the home, it had the cellar underneath the home, and you had to go outside to go down the cellar, and that's where we had the washer and dryer. And I was
So
in
it was
the
like
cellar.
an exterior root cellar almost.
Yeah. But I kept having a dream where I was drowning in the cellar. And then I had that where I did drown. And like when I drowned, like I remember like it got to the point I couldn't hold my breath anymore. And I was like, here, I remember thinking, this is how I died. And I just took a deep breath in of water, and it was like all the flash images. And I was mad, like, this is how I'm dying, because I jumped into a pool to save somebody. I was a junior lifeguard at the time, and she grabbed me by my hair. I didn't have enough time to pull my hair up, and my hair was long enough to sit on. She wrapped my hair around her hands, and like she pushed me down and stood on my shoulders. People thought we were playing chicken. They didn't realize. They thought we were just goofing off, playing around. They didn't realize like I was drowning under her.
Well,
and
at least we both had a similar experience as far as jumping into a pool.
yeah.
Mine, I was jumping on a trampoline, and I watched my brother at the time, who was my older brother, so he was jumping into the in-ground pool. And so, of course, I wanted to impress him and his friends because I'm the younger kid. Halfway through my trip from the trampoline to the pool, I remember that I couldn't swim.
Oh.
So I turn around and try to do the Scooby-Doo thing in the air where you run it. For the record, that shit does not work.
Oh God.
My whole body went into the pool besides my face. Here, I still have a permanent scar here, and my jaw was stapled shut. Broke my jaw. Luckily, my father did CPR. And the second time I almost drowned, I was caught in an undertow at Panama City.
Oh God.
That's just scary.
Yeah, undertows ain't no joke.
Yeah.
But guys, I know we're running a little bit late. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, so I have a typical set of questions I like to end my podcast on. I'll let you guys plug your stuff. So first question: if you had the opportunity to investigate any location on your bucket list, and you can both answer separately, it doesn't have to be a joint answer, okay? What would be your bucket list location that you've never been to?
Go ahead.
I'm thinking.
I wonder if you've ever got this. You asked this question a lot, so I wonder if you ever get this answer.
Actually, you guys are episode like 8, so I've not asked it a lot.
Okay. My bucket list to investigate, but it'll never happen, would be the Vatican.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good choice.
Very good.
The underground vaults, the stuff they have
All
down
of it.
here.
All of it. The whole grounds, the underground. Yes, everything.
I love that answer. Bree.
What about Winchester Abbey?
Oh, great. England?
Yeah, where everybody's buried.
That's a great choice. I love that. So we got the Vatican. We got Winchester Abbey. So if you could choose one person, doesn't have to necessarily be involved in the paranormal, alive or dead, who are you taking with you? Bree? Okay. Nick? Okay. So if you had one piece of equipment to take with you on said investigation to each location, what piece of equipment are you bringing with you?
Man, it's a toss-up between a portal box or an EVP recorder, but I would probably do the EVP recorder because it'd be easier to walk around with it.
Love it.
Something small would be an SB7. That way I could try to get instant validation for what I'm seeing, hearing, and feeling.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. So, guys, I know we went a little bit over the hour. Plug your stuff. Where in the hell could people find you? What events you're going to be at this year? And if you guys don't mind, just hang out for a few minutes after the the exit video. I just want to get some critiques on the podcast and whatnot. So where can people find you? What events you're going to be at?
Well, I mean, we'll be at Pennhurst this weekend, but we're just volunteering. So we gotta hold hands for some celebrities and wipe their asses all weekend. Anyways, moving on. So we'll be at Pennhurst. Then we have Ghost and Outlaws event at Old Crown Jail here in Indiana. Then we'll be at FCI Con.
Yep.
Then we'll be at Gettysburg Bash. Then we'll be at, what's the one in San Francisco?
Nautical Nightmares
Nautical
in
Nightmares.
San Francisco.
And then our event, November 7th, 8th, 9th, here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Mysteries of the Fort, Paranormal and Metaphysical Symposium. And you can see us 24/7 if you want to book the State House.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't have anything booked for November. If I can make it to there, I'll make it.
But yeah, come on up.
Oh, yeah. So, and if you want any information, you can go to mysteriesofthefort.com. If you want to be a vendor, send an email to mysteriesofthefort@gmail.com, and we will send out a vendor registration form.
Love it. So
When is Rockdown?
When is Rockdown?
It's the weekend after Connecticut, Nate. Do you know?
Hang on.
July
I got a
18th,
calendar.
maybe?
Hang on.
Is it
I got a
18th?
calendar right here.
Okay.
July 18th through the 20th.
It's possible we can
try to get
show
there.
up. It's possible.
If y'all make it, I would love to see you guys. I'm gonna be doing
There it
some
is,
stuff
July
around the
18th.
facility. So yeah, 18th. God forbid I actually mark my calendar right. That should never happen.
Look at his
But,
little calendar there.
You guys, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Not really YouTube. We don't really do anything. on YouTube.
No, we don't do much of YouTube.
And we got a lot of stuff we're cooking up right now. Bree and I are working on a very special, I don't even know what you call it, lecture/gallery reading thing that we're going to be putting together and traveling around the country to do.
Yeah.
Well, anything I can do to help you guys, Bree, Nick, do not hesitate to reach out. I will help you guys in any way, shape, or form.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to start book number 2. I got one book out, Paranormal Legacy and the Ugly Truth. You can get that on Amazon.
Yeah, we didn't get to that. I wanted to ask about it. We didn't get to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the premise behind the book is the what, when, why, and how got me into the paranormal. And then it really dives into how to run a team, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, the kick in the nuts.
So
And
where
then
can people find this book?
it's on Amazon.
All you got to do is like search up Nick Carboni on Amazon, and it'll take you to his book.
And it goes, it's my story from the beginning all the way up to my departure at the Bell Mansion, and explains how the Bell Mansion started, the whole 9 yards, like everything's in there. I
will be buying that shit this weekend.
I appreciate it. And if it feels easy to read and it's very good, it's because Bree did it.
I did the editing.
So
look,
but yeah, I mean,
I have made my way through some painstaking books. Okay, I have read Ghost by Hans Halser, which is 1,300 pages and like 11-point font.
Mhm.
Oof.
I got a couple behind me. Hans Holzer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his work, but his writing is so dry.
He does not get the credit like Lorraine and Ed do.
No, and he was the original Ghost Hunter. Like, he had the original TV show on the BBC.
Like, man, I don't even know how to understand it. Like, if you want to get into the paranormal and understand it, you need to go and find some tapes, get some books.
You do.
And study Hans Holzer.
Hans
Because
Holzer, Ethel Myers.
what this man did is just so ground, and the fucking evidence he got.
It was amazing.
And yeah, true pioneer.
True pioneer. But guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for taking this hour to, like a little bit over, but still an hour to come and talk to me. I loved having you guys on my podcast.
Yeah.
There was so much I felt like we didn't hit on, but maybe I can have you guys back later on.
I was gonna say we'll just do a part 2.
Yeah, man. You get an opening, hit us up, man. We'll come on here. We'll talk about whatever. You want to talk about cheeseburgers for an hour, man? We can do it. I don't care.
I love it because there's so much we didn't hit on there. Because I wanted to hit on some controversial stuff tonight, but we didn't get to it. But,
Hey, we'll do a controversial part 2. We're down for that.
Look,
I love it.
Bill, we talked about your nuts way before you came on here.
We did. And I don't want to see you in the Brazilian Speedo, Bill, so just stop it.
Dad, reach out to us so we can get something set up.
But Bree, Nick, thank you guys so much for coming on the cast. If you wouldn't mind to stick around for a few minutes, we're going to run the outro.
For sure.
And then I'll talk to you guys afterwards.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you.
All right, man. You doubt?
We're good.
Tell everybody good night.
I don't believe in saying good night. But no, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining in for the podcast. I felt like it was a great conversation.
Yes.
Join in next week. Same time, same channel.
I am going to run one commercial before we finish for the Rock Down.
You will not.
I'm
joking. I'm joking.
There you go, Bill. This is for y'all.
Brace yourself for the Paranormal Rockdown, July 18th and 19th, 2025 at the Haunted Broadhead Manor. Friday night, rock out with Dead Amsterdam, Left on Red, and headliner Green Jelly. The music may not be the only thing shaking these walls. Rumor has it the spirits love a good beat. Will you meet one? Saturday, meet paranormal legends like Dave Schrader, Sam Baltrusis, and more. Enjoy thrilling workshops, tasty treats, and a live Zoom Q&A with Dustin Perry. Dive into the ultimate paranormal investigation with expert guides. Or join a spine-tingling seance with Sam Baltrusis. Tickets are limited. Get yours now for an unforgettable weekend of music, mystery, and chills.